When I was in film school, I started out in animation. I've always loved animation. And I've done some animation films in my career. I worked with Steve Spielberg. We did Land Before Time together and done projects. And then between episodes, when I was making episode 3, so between episodes 2 and 3, I was slightly disappointed that I couldn't really tell the story of the Clone Wars because it really didn't have much to do with Anakin's growth or lack thereof, descent into the dark side. But there was a lot of possibilities there, so we worked with Gindi, who's a very famous and talented animator, to do these little 5-minute short subjects for the Cartoon Network. Out of that, I really wanted to do a TV series about the Clone Wars. This started out as a television series, and we put together a new style and a look and a lot of new technology, built a new studio, and the quality came out so well that when I saw it on the big screen, I said, this is way too beautiful to just be put on television. This really looks good enough to be in a movie theater. And so we said, well, why don't we make it a feature, like the TV series. And so that's really how this happened. And our offspring studio across the bay, Pixar, we showed movies back and forth all the time because this Pixar started with us. And we started 3D animation and that sort of thing when they were here. And they were amazed at what we were able to do with the very limited resources we have, because it really is a leap forward in doing television animation. Yeah, I love animation. I started out in animation when I was in college, and there's a certain amount of freedom, especially for something like Star Wars, where you're dealing with other universes and a lot of things that are hard to create in the real world. It makes it kind of easier to do it, and it's stylized in a way that you can get around a lot of the problems you have to do when you have to make it look, realistic and in a way that people believe that it actually exists. The television series goes through all the adventures of Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. It was designed originally, and still is, to establish a relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin. In episode 2, they're kind of very edgy with each other, and I wanted to show how they became friends, how they became partners, and ultimately how they became a team that you see in episode 3. So it's their growth as their friendship. Then we put this new Padawan in to give Anakin a little bit more dimension in terms of his struggle to teach other people the ways of the Force, which means he has to modify some of his independence, which gives him something interesting to do. And there'll be a lot of that. It also gives me a chance to deal with other Jedi that we only saw in passing, clones, which we didn't get to explore very much, but some of the main characters in this are clones. So it broadens the scope. In Star Wars, I have to deal primarily with Anakin Skywalker and his son. That's the story. And everything falls away from that. So, and in most of the films, in the first 3, Anakin is struggling with going to the dark side. So you don't really get to see him as a regular person. Everything is sort of pointed toward his downfall. And it's the same thing with his son. It's all pointed toward him redeeming his father. So you don't really get to see the full picture. And since especially 1, 2, and 3 are sort of one-sided in terms of his character and his personality, I wanted you to see that he was just like in episode 1. He's a fun-loving, normal person that has a great time and has friends and isn't always brooding. It's always an amazing thing. When I did the first film, I expected it to be, unsuccessful. And at the point I was starting, working on it, I was unsuccessful. I'd done American Graffiti, but it hadn't been released yet. It was unsuccessful. They were thinking it was so bad they didn't want to release it. So I figured, well, you know, it's another. I figured I got maybe one more film before they kicked me out of the film business, and so I was shocked when it became successful. I enjoy the universe. I enjoy working in it. It gives you a lot of room to play around and explore various avenues of that universe that we haven't seen yet. You know, it's gratifying to have a lot of fans and people that actually get something from the movie. It's whenever you make a movie, you want to make an impact on people. You want to entertain them and bring some excitement and joy to their life, but at the same time, you want to bring them insight and knowledge that they may not be that aware of. One of the goals of Star Wars was to inspire creativity in kids, so that they could do things, and you like to draw pictures about it, you like to do things with it, and I wanted to do something like that, and it's very gratifying to know that imagination-wise, it's sort of really inspired millions.